And that was an interesting experience in itself. It's the first and only fighter airplane I ever put in a spin. So Nashville was an intake center to find out what we might be qualified for, and everybody, or nearly everybody, wanted to be a fighter pilot. And we went through a battery of tests to see what kind of reflexes we had. And we had to put stylus in little holes and don't hit the edges, and put round pegs in round holes as quickly as we could. And then after all that and learning how to be a military person, we did a lot of physical training. And I'm fresh out of high school. In fact, I left high school because of the break. I left in my senior year, and I never did graduate, except in absentia. We're learning to be military people, doing PT and some ground school. And eventually they put the list up on the bulletin board, and it said what your next station is going to be and what your plane is going to be. And of course we all readily run over to the bulletin board and look and see where we were going, and I was glad to see that I was going to be a fighter pilot. And from there we went to Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama and took our ground school and learned aerodynamics and meteorology. And so my senior year of high school was done at the Air Force School. And my first base for an airplane was Bennettsville, South Carolina, and I got introduced to the Stearman P-51 and learned to fly. And completed that course readily, and then we went to basic. The training program to become a pilot at that time was 3 parts: primary, basic, and advanced. So from primary and the Stearman, I went to Shaw Air Force Base, or Shaw Base, and we had something called the BT-13, the Volt-T vibrator, which was more powerful than the Stearman. And we got checked out in that airplane and did the curriculum that you had to do, and then I was sent to Spencerfield, Georgia for advanced training, where we flew the AT-6, and the AT-6 had a retractable landing gear, and we were moving on up. And while we were there, we got 10 hours in the P-40. And that was an interesting experience in itself. It's the first and only fighter airplane I ever put in a spin. And I didn't do it intentionally, it just fell off. The first thing you do when you go to a new airplane is practice stalls and find out the stalling speed and maneuvering and how you control the airplane when you lose flying speed. But that was successful, and the whole thing turned out all right because I graduated from flying school in August of 1943. And I'm still 18 years old. So from there, I was sent to P-47 combat crew training, because that's what they had in Europe at that time. So I did that and flew for 40 hours in the P-40, My friend and I, a little guy from Texas, we called him Shorty McCaslin, and because of our names, we became pals. And we finished combat crew training and got a little brief time to go home and see the family, and then came back and was sent to England. Both Shorty and I went to the 355th Fighter Group, and we both ended up in the 357th Fighter Squadron.